Welcome back. Once again, I have 10 more bad N64 games to show you. I'm getting to the point where these games aren't at the bottom of the barrel for everyone. Even with my previous videos, some people may see those games as decent or even good. This video may be more on the mediocre side of the N64 games instead of just straight up garbage. Since all the games in this series have been from the perspective of someone playing them for the first time, which includes me, I don't have the privilege of having these games be the only thing to choose from within my gaming library. So, to simplify, if any of these games are your favorite or were your favorite, sorry, not sorry. With that out of the way, let's get started. Body Harvest came out in 1998 and is a non-linear alien action-adventure game. Taking control of Adam Drake, you are tasked with eradicating bug-like aliens who terrorize Earth over the centuries. To save the past, present, and the future, you use a time travel device that takes you within a 100-year time span, covering from World War I era Greece to the near future of 2016. I was mildly impressed with how you interacted with the environment in this game. You could turn on lights, light fires and candles, open chests and doors, and drive different vehicles of different sizes. Most impressive of them all was the house destruction. However, I only really liked the part of the game where you killed the big bugs. The aliens reminded me of antlions from Half-Life to an insane degree. You could run them over and they would explode, which was also very fun. The graphics were very dated, but not as bad as Paperboy. Nothing will be as bad as Paperboy. Again, I just wanted to kill the bugs. I didn't care for the lore the entire time I played. I had more fun treating the game as a sandbox than an action-adventure game. The controls were okay, but had very slow input times. Interestingly, during its development, it was one of the 13 games demoed at Nintendo Space World in 1995. It was unplayable, but it was showcased, and it was reported to be the most incomplete game from the 13 there. I had fun with the game. I don't think I would play it more than I already have, but it was a cool game to experience. Also, Banana Fish Fountain. Armorines Project S.W.A.R.M, released in 1999 for the N64 and Game Boy Color, and in 2000 for the PlayStation 1. I cannot escape the torture that is old FPS games and their control scheme. Continuing the trend of shooting alien bugs, the plot to Armorines is protecting Earth from extraterrestrial spider aliens. Picking Myra Lane as my protagonist, I got straight into the game, and oh brother. Even with the aim assist that barely worked, I couldn't shoot for shit. Trapped in a shittier version of Shadow Moses Island, I had no idea where I was supposed to go. Between the walls of text that I was given right at the beginning of the game, I lost all my brain power trying to move around and shoot. I had to manually turn up my brightness on my TV just to see inside buildings because there was no flashlight option. The hitboxes were even worse. There was a point where I was playing Duck Duck Goose with this one alien that couldn't hit me because it was too close, and I couldn't hit it because it was spinning on top of me and I couldn't reach its hitbox. While trying to figure out what to do, I accidentally blew myself up using my bullets to light up the room, and conveniently shot the most explosive box ever. I stopped playing after that. Golden Nugget 64 released in 1998 and is based on the Las Vegas gambling hall. This isn't the first Golden Nugget casino game. The first casino game released for Windows in 1996 and PlayStation in 1997. Featuring 10 different casino games, you sign yourself in at the front desk and get to gambling. Playing as my original character, Max Wynn, I got right into it. Somehow, some way, while playing blackjack, everyone on the table got 17 and lost a house. Immediately after, I got 21 and doubled my money. The nice thing about this game is that it tells you how to play and shows you the controls for each game. If you like gambling, this is the game for you. I lost it all in the slot machines. Have you ever wanted to play the end credits to Super Smash Bros? This is the game for all three of you. Knife Edge Nose Gunner, or just Knife Edge, released in 1998 and is a 3D rail shooter game. Plot: big US military wants life on Mars. However, aliens. Even though my movement was predetermined, I had the worst time moving the reticle around. The sensitivity was so bad, even at its lowest, I had so much frustration trying to shoot anything. You are given some opportunities to move around by the C buttons. Its purpose is so that you can dodge certain attacks and enemies, if it worked. I could not beat the first boss because dodging was useless. Good riddance. Before I get into whatever Blues Brothers 2000 is, I would like you to know that there is a small trend in all of these games. They are either made by Midway or Titus Interactive. They are essentially the LJN of the Nintendo 64 era. Blues Brothers 2000 released in 2000 and is a 3D platforming game. Very loosely based on the Blues Brothers band, in the film, you play as Elwood, escaping from prison and getting the band back together for the Battle of the Bands. This game wants to be a Banjo & Kazooie clone so bad it makes the game even worse. This game sucks actual balls! Button inputs have to be done in such a specific way the majority of the time. For example, if you want to crawl, you can't be moving or jumping or pressing anything else beforehand. You have to be completely still, press R, and then move the control stick to crawl. Super Mario 64 had this down 4 years earlier. You could be running, walking, and could crawl while moving around. Why couldn't this game control that well? After escaping the prison from insane patients, electric chair enthusiasts, and rotten cops, I took a cab to Chicago. I immediately got assaulted by a woman walking on the street, and decided to end it all by getting run over by a car and quitting the game. Battlezone: Rise of the Black Dogs, released in 2000 on the N64 and originally released in Windows as Battlezone in 1998. The plot of this game can be summed up as a glorified space race where the objective is to defeat the enemy opposition from stealing materials on the moon. Again, yet another slippery FPS game where I constantly had to fight the camera to see anything but the ground. You have two types of movement: moving and attacking inside of a tank, or moving and attacking on foot. You initially start off by playing in the tank and fighting that way. But you are given a second chance if you blow up and or die and can fight on foot. Good luck playing the game after you lose your battleship. Playing on foot is such a sluggish and waste of playtime. Not only is the map insanely huge and hard to travel on foot, the camera tilts in the direction you are moving in. The best way to fix it is by aiming up with the C buttons while walking forward to figure out what is possibly in front of you besides the boring gray ground. The game is just dull. I don't know how else to explain the entirety of the game besides just calling it dull. California Speed released in 1999 for the N64 and originally released in 1998 as an arcade game. You have a neat range of sports cars. I, of course, picked the best car listed and chose the golf cart and colored it to my liking. If for some reason this game sounds or looks familiar to you, it's because a billboard in the desert track has a cryptic message on it that says, "Sometimes God takes mommies and puppies away, and sometimes, just sometimes, I do. Because this game was created with a short development lifetime, the artist behind the billboard used it as a placeholder and was accidentally left in the final version. This game isn't that bad actually. I had a lot of fun on the tracks that I played. My top 2 favorite tracks featured the inside of an arcade cabinet or N64, and the one that you were taken away by an alien spaceship. The other tracks are pretty basic and mainly are just a straight line from the start to the finish. At least you get an awesome 3-frame pixel babe at the end of the finish line. Dark Rift released in 1997 for both the N64 and Windows. Strangely starting off as a Sega Saturn release that never came to fruition, Dark Rift is a ring-style fighting game with 8 different playable characters and 2 secret unlockable characters after beating the single-player tournament mode. With the fights going on a 3 out of 5 instead of classic 2 out of 3 rounds, I had the most lackluster and unsalted experience playing this game. The controls are clunky, the characters aren't that original or interesting visually, and there isn't anything to do besides the tournament mode. The only thing appealing about this game is the backgrounds. Even if they are pixelated to shit, they are still more visually appealing than what is going on in the ring. Razor Freestyle Scooter released near the end of the N64's lifetime in 2001. This ain't your Skate 3 or Tony Hawk game, and you'll be glad it isn't. You are tasked with saving your friends from an evil robot, and the only way to do that is by pulling off some sick tricks. With how simple, and I mean very simple, the controls are, you would practically fall asleep playing this game. I somehow managed to fight the camera from time to time, getting slowed down or stuck in certain spots because the camera had to stick in a certain radius away from the wall. I can only describe it as bouncy. I'm not sure that's the right word. The different levels were okay, but they were pretty bland compared to its skating predecessors. Earthworm Jim 3D released in 1999 for the N64 and later to Windows in 2000. The plot of Earthworm Jim 3D is as follows. Earthworm Jim gets fatally wounded from his enemies and receives a lobotomy which causes him to suffer from internal schizophrenia. Okay, that isn't the actual plot of the game, but it's funnier. Playing inside Earthworm Jim's brain, you need to collect your marbles and gain your intelligence back. This is another game that wants to be a Banjo and Kazooie clone, which is unfortunate given how strong the Earthworm Jim IP was at the time. The amount of witty comments and humor were not up to par compared to its previous entries. This was a big letdown among the controls and horrible camera for many fans and critics of the time. I didn't have too much trouble with the controls compared to the camera. I came to a realization why the camera was so bad. Hear me out. When you leave an area and enter into a new room, the camera is placed inside the doorframe, making Jim be the center of your view. However, let's say you accidentally entered the room and want to leave right away. You turn around towards the camera, and you can't leave until the camera turns around. Why does this happen, you ask? Because the camera is a physical object. Jim can't pass through the door because the camera is acting like an invisible box that cannot be jumped, climbed, or smashed through. You have to move the camera out of the way first before you can leave the room. With that in mind, imagine how hard it is to look around. I held down the R button to have the camera behind Jim at all times to make it possible to play. Besides that huge flaw, I sort of liked the game. I had fun, but it was always short-lived. From the pogging chicken gun that shot eggs and an elf cannon that made me laugh, those are the 2 things that really kept me going. Unfortunately, I can clearly see how this game was a huge flop, and I humbly have to agree. This wraps up another 10 bad N64 games. I have one more video planned for this series. I hope this and the next video are worth the wait. Thank you all again for watching my videos, I always appreciate it. And to repeat the outro to my previous videos, to anyone that got these games for Christmas, a birthday, or a holiday, I am so sorry.